The battlefield reeked of burned stone and ionized air. A bitter taste lingered at the back of the throat long after the guns fell silent. Sergeant Mara Kestrel moved forward, her rifle tracking the ruins, stepping over the shattered remains of a Velcary shock trooper. Its armor was split open like a cracked shell while Recon Unit Theta advanced behind her in a loose arc. 5 Zithians, their segmented exocytes clicking softly, walked behind her, compound eyes scanning for movement. Captain Rick's harsh voice cut through the columns, declaring the sector secure and ordering them to advance, only for a thin, broken sound to slip through the silence. A small whimper, one that did not belong on a battlefield, caused Mara to raise her fist instinctively. "Wait!" she commanded, listening again. She moved toward a collapsed defense bunker and found the source. A Velcary cub no more than 4 or 5 cycles old. Its ash-gray fur was streaked with dark indigo blood. One hind leg was twisted grotesquely, and its oversized amber eyes were wide with terror as it tried to crawl backward on trembling limbs, claws scraping weakly against the rubble. Before Mara could speak, Captain Rick leveled his pulse rifle and ordered her aside, reminding her in a flat, merciless tone that protocol was explicit. Velcary young became killers within a decade, and mercy now would spare future casualties. But Mara did not move. Her pulse pounded so hard she felt it in her ears as she planted herself between the rifle and the child. "It is a child, not a combatant," she said quietly but firmly. "Killing it would be murder." The Zithians shifted uneasily, raising their weapons halfway, torn between loyalty to command and the human's defiance. Rick insisted she understood nothing of war, that the Velcary Dominion had burned entire systems and slaughtered billions, and that sparing a future predator out of sentiment was insanity. Mara replied that if they executed a wounded child, they were no better than the monsters they claimed to fight. The Galactic Accord meant something or it meant nothing at all. Behind her, the cub whimpered again, small and fragile amid the destruction, prompting Rick to study her for a long moment before lowering his weapon in visible disgust. "You are mad," he said. "Any blood spilled by that cub in the future will be on your hands." He then ordered the squad to withdraw, leaving her alone in the wreckage. Mara knelt slowly, lowered her rifle, and spoke softly in broken Velcary phrases learned during briefings, promising safety as she carefully gathered the trembling cub into her arms. She felt how light it was, how violently it shook. The journey back to the forward base was silent. No one met her eyes, whispers following her through corridors about reckless humans and misplaced compassion. For 3 days she kept the cub hidden in her quarters, stealing medical supplies to clean its wounds and fashion a crude splint. She watched as it ate rations, paced with careful, deliberate movements, and never spoke, only observing her with those luminous eyes. On the 4th day, security forces arrived to arrest her for violating military protocol. Weapons raised, the cub hissed and pressed against the wall, forcing Mara to once again stand between armed soldiers and a child. Alarms screamed in the sky as hundreds of Velcary warships arrived, their hulls marked with ritual scars. The base commander announced over comms that the enemy fleet requested negotiations, an exchange of 10,000 prisoners for the return of the warlord's son's body. Mara froze as she realized they believed the cub dead. Ordered to bring the child to the command bridge, she entered chaos. Officers shouted. Targeting systems spun up around a massive Velcary dreadnought looming on the main display, weapons powered but idle. Commander Haurex informed her in a low voice that the cub was the offspring of Supreme Warlord Draxen. His grief-bound voice soon echoed through the chamber, demanding the return of his son's remains and offering retreat in prisoners in exchange for honor. Mara stepped forward and told them the child lived, prompting disbelief, rage, and then silence. The cub spoke softly in its native tongue. Words Mara did not understand, but they caused the enemy fleet to immediately power down their weapons and request to meet the human who had protected the child. In the hangar, Warlord Draxen emerged, towering and scarred. He gathered his son into his arms with breathtaking tenderness, examining the careful bandages and splint. Then he turned to Mara and asked why she had helped an enemy. She replied simply, "Children should not die for wars they did not begin." The warlord knelt, pressing his forehead to the deck in profound respect, declaring that for 40 years his people had believed humans incapable of mercy, and one human had proven them wrong. He departed, ending the war. 3 months later, General Mara Kestrel stood on the bridge of the Unity's edge, watching former enemies patrol the border together. 10,000 prisoners returned, negotiations underway, all because one human had chosen to see a child instead of an enemy. As she touched the star-shaped metal on her chest, she understood that humanity's greatest weapon had never been firepower or fleets, but the stubborn refusal to abandon compassion, even when the universe insisted it was weakness. Please follow my channel for more videos. One click from you can change my life.